Hi, my name is Jonathan Diaz, and I'll be making the momofuku pork buns today. So first off, I have pork belly here. I'm just gonna cut it in half so it'll cook faster. 2 pieces. And here, I have Chinese 5-spice. Pause. So here, I have Chinese 5-spice, some sugar, a mixture of the two, and some brown sugar. So what you do, get some of the Chinese 5-spice and some sugar. If you can't find the 5-spice, go to any local Asian market. They should have it. So I usually like to put more than enough because I like my pork sweet, but if you don't want it sweet, then just add less of this seasoning. Do both sides. And then after you do this, you're gonna have to sear it. I usually like searing it because it gives it a good texture. And then after that, you're gonna have to bake it for a good 2 to 3 hours or until tender, like as tender as your cheek pretty much. So we'll see if we could get that going today. Cut it. So here I have some oil in the pan. Make sure the oil gets really hot or else it won't get a good sear. So I usually put belly side down so it'll get that nice crust. We're testing it, see how it sizzles. If it sizzles, that means it's perfect. So put it down. Get the other piece. Pause it. So it's been about like 3 to 4 minutes, and let's check on the pork. Got a good sear. It's not burnt, and it's flavor. Don't worry because it'll be roasting in the oven for a good 2 to 3 hours and basting it with brown sugar as we go. So don't worry about if it looks burnt. It'll taste good. Trust. So here, we did the other side. Beautiful. So now take it off. Put it on the sheet tray. Put skin side up so when you put it in the oven, the fat renders down into the meat. So here's the second piece. I did it in 2 pans because the first pan was a little too crowded. Look at that. It's beautiful. This one I did a little less, as you can see. So here I have some brown sugar. I put a good amount of brown sugar on it. Again, if you don't like sweetness, you don't need to put as much brown sugar as I'm putting on. Put it on both. And we're gonna throw this in the oven around 350 for a good 2 to 3 hours. So now we're gonna get this and put it into our oven that we have over here. If you don't have this big ass oven, well, too bad. You should invest in one. It's pretty damn dope. So we have it here at 280 because this also steams it, not just conventional oven. So we have it at 40. I said an hour to 2 hours because the regular ovens won't do what this oven does. So we're gonna start it up. The steam pork. So now I'm gonna make the steamed pork buns. Here I'm gonna do 1/3 of a cup of room temperature water. And then from there, I'm gonna do half a teaspoon of active dry yeast. And now I'm gonna whisk it until the yeast dissolves. So now I'm gonna add a cup and 2 tablespoons of bread flour. This bread flour I bought at Whole Foods. It was about $6. Rip off, I think, but hey. So make sure you pack it on tight. So that's a cup and 2 tablespoons. That's 1, 2. And then from there you add your salt, which I have here. For salt, you need about 1/4 of a teaspoon. So 1/8, 1/4. It's good enough. And then from there, your baking powder, which you need about 1/8 of a teaspoon. So there's 1 teaspoon, 1/4. Jesus, 1/8. Pause. So we're gonna need 1/8 of baking powder. Out there. And from baking powder, we need baking soda, which is about 1/8 also, which we have in here. The baking soda and baking powder so that the bread gives it a nice fluff when you put it in the steamer. So now from here, we're gonna mix it. You can mix it with your hands because it will get messy and sticky. If it gets too sticky, add flour. If it's too dry, add a little bit more water to it. You just gotta test it as it goes. So here, as you can see, it's a little too dry. So I'm gonna add about 1/3 of a cup of water, or actually less, half of that, so 1/8. Just a little bit, because it was too dry. I need it again. So now that I've kneaded the dough for about 10 minutes, make sure there's no lumps in it at all. It has to be really smooth like this. And once you do this, cover it with either a damp towel or plastic wrap and proof it. If you don't have a proofer, you could just leave it outside in your kitchen, room temperature, let it until it gets double in size. So now we need to slice some cucumber, about 1/8 of an inch. If you can't do it by hand, then get a mandolin and do it, because we don't want you to get hurt out here, you know, we want you to live. So just slice away. And that'll be it. So now that the dough has been setting in the proof box for at least a good hour and a half, it's time. You could just check it, see how soft it is. So now it's time, rip off about 1 ounce of each. Pause it. So now that you have your balls of 1 ounce rolled out, it's time to make it. You can flatten it. The purpose here is to make a little bun. You have to make it like a football shape, pretty much an oval. And you could just stretch it if you want. Roll it out pretty good. So that right there, that's one. And now for another one.
So you're gonna repeat the process.
Huh?
So you're just gonna repeat the.
So here I have them rolled out, a little oval shape, and I put oil right here. I put oil and then a chopstick in the middle so that they don't close on each other, and the oil helps it not stick when you have it in the proofer. So you do this, put it on there, and then you put it back in the proof box for a good 15 minutes. Now that I have that, the buns have now proofed for another 10 minutes, so time to put it in the steamer. If you don't have a steamer, you can use a water bath. You can get a 400 pan over here. Fill a 400 pan with water, put it on the stove, get a perforated pan, not as big as this, put it on top and cover it and just put it on the stove. So here's the steamer. We're gonna go for 15 minutes, and then from there we're gonna check up on it. Now here's our finished product of the pork. It's been in there for a good 2 hours. Look at that, tender to the max. Look at that. It came out really nice, guys, really nice. Now that we have the steamed buns out of the steamer, it's time to assemble. So put your pork belly, a good amount, and your pickled cucumber that you made. Once you do that, the hoisin sauce, you have a hoisin sauce. If you don't know what that is, you could get it at any local Asian market. Put it on there. And I have some already assembled right here. Top it off with some chopped scallions. And there you go, momofuku pork buns.